Hello, brother.
Hello. I think we did the have at you thing before.
And welcome to the MIGCAST Presents Raised on Games, Part 3, 16-bit era.
We should have had fun, because remember we were doing a Rambo thing? I'm going to start on a tangent. This is the MIGCAST Raised on Games, Part 3, version 2.0.
Yeah.
We filmed 40 minutes of this. We were rambling like crazy.
Yeah, we weren't happy. We weren't happy with how it turned out.
Because, our minds were fucking crazy with all these memories, and so we started going nuts. And so it just was a mishmash. So we decided to kind of slow things down. We're going to kind of have some fun.
Yeah, so we're going to dive on in here to the 16-bit generation and our experience with that, which I think it's safe to say is probably our most fondest. For us, our pinnacle of gaming. 16-bit generation is what really brought it all in. That's when we really got in. Atari, that was our initial taste.
You're younger.
Yeah,
you're in your
younger.
single digits.
Yeah. Super or Nintendo, regular Nintendo, we were starting to get more familiar. Okay, this is cool. These games look better. You can do
those
more
reflexes
of them.
down.
Yeah, you get the eye-hand coordinations.
Oh, yeah.
Which are good for games like Street Fighter 2. And then, hell yeah, man. The original Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
And then you had...
you ain't getting a reference to that.
No. And then you have the 16-bit generation. And our experience with the 16-bit generation is mostly Super Nintendo. But the funniest thing about it is Super Nintendo did not usher in the 16-bit era. In fact, let me look at my handy notes. I took notes here this time. Technically, the Turbo Grafx. Turbo Grafx.
That's how I remember it.
Technically, the Turbo Grafx ushered in the 16-bit era. Because that came out here August 29th in 1989.
Yeah, I think, and then weren't you saying when you looked up your notes, the Sega Genesis came out wasn't it a week later or month later?
Funny enough, the Sega Genesis came out a week later. Because Turbo Grafx came out in August 29th of 1989. Sega Genesis came out August 14th, 1989. So actually, I'm wrong. Sega Genesis ushered in the 16-bit era with Turbo Grafx following a couple weeks later. Yeah. Funny thing is the Turbo Grafx at the time, when that thing came out, that thing was $399 US. That's expensive. That thing was $400 when that came out.
Can't touch the Neo Geo, man.
Well, yeah, Neo Geo.
Fuck that thing, man.
I didn't even.
Weren't those games
Neo
huge?
Geo? I didn't even look up Neo Geo. I think Neo Geo.
That was NES, right? That was around that era?
Neo Geo comes in after that. Surprisingly enough, Neo Geo is during the transition into 64.
When was Johnny Arcade? Because I remember that was when they let the guys run through. Or was that a totally different show when they'd run through that fucking maze?
That was
Neo Geo was the prized possession.
Yeah, that was a totally different show.
Okay. Johnny Arcade later came back.
Yes. Yeah, because at first it was just a video game show, and then they came back and they did
Captain N was not even related to that.
So Neo Geo came out, or Neo Geo, Turbo Grafx came out, $400 US. And then, but Sega Genesis came out first, and when Sega Genesis came out, that was $189.99.
Not bad. I wonder how that adjusts for inflation. It's got to be on par with the modern consoles, because I know people always bitch about games.
That still seems really cheap. I mean, when you look at
here, I'll look up inflation adjustments.
Which I'd be really interested. I'd be really interested in.
I'm telling you, it's going to be about $400.
I'd be interested in seeing the inflation rates for the Turbo Grafx being $400 when it came out in '89. It actually came out in Turbo Grafx actually came out October 30th, 87 in Japan.
Yeah. Well, that's how Super Nintendo came out early in Japan.
Yeah, but almost a year later.
Yeah.
So anyway, Sega Genesis came out. We didn't have a Sega Genesis until a little bit later on in its life.
It was the revision. We'll get more into this.
Yeah.
We got the Sega Genesis with the revision when they had the price drop of $99 and Sonic 2, which was really
I could actually probably pull up and see when that Sonic 2 bundle was on sale. Mm-hmm. Because that would give us the idea date of when we bought that. But we got a funny story to go along with that.
Yes, we do.
So Turbo Grafx came out shortly after Sega Genesis. We never owned a Turbo Grafx. Even to this day, we never owned a Turbo Grafx. We did get to play Turbo Grafx, though, because we had a we had a guy. Dog's being weird. We had a guy that used to babysit us that I think our mom worked with.
At Mom's bank. Yeah.
And he would babysit us, and the guy was a huge geek, and he would bring over his video game systems. Wow. And I remember, hold that thought.
I got crazy prices.
And I remember our experience with Turbo Grafx was he would bring his Turbo Grafx by, and I distinctly remember playing Bonks, which that was like the flagship. Didn't come out with the game.
Bonk ended up coming to the Nintendo late down the road. Yes. Because who made Turbo Grafx? Was it NEC and Hudson Soft?
Very good. Yeah, Hudson Soft and NEC formed a joint, what's it called?
Like a business partnership.
Yeah, so I remember playing Bonk's Adventures for Turbo Grafx.
3 more, actually, I remember.
I remember playing Ghostbusters.
Which was awesome. That was the one where they had the big heads?
Yeah, they had the big heads. It was like side-scrolling level. It was very, very different.
Yeah, it was really cool.
But that was really cool. Golden Axe?
That was a Genesis title. I remember. Maybe it was on Turbo Grafx 16. I
What
remember.
other game are you remembering?
I remember, and I have on my notes here, Super Ghosts and Goblins or Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Super Ghouls
and it was
and
like
Ghosts.
one of the more definitive, like kind of like the arcade port.
Yep.
And then I remember Splatterhouse.
Oh,
was that Splatterhouse
shit.
was on that,
Yeah,
right?
Splatterhouse. It was also on Genesis, though, too.
Okay.
But it started off on...
well, I know a lot of these games went to
What's
these
called, I
systems, and then they like either had poor performance, and they got later ported. to
yeah,
other
so
systems.
that was... And that's why... Well, that's all we're going to briefly say about Turbo Grafx.
Yeah, well, I wanted to give you a quick couple.
Yeah,
system
you said you
inflations here.
pulled up these inflation rates.
Yeah, it's pretty funny actually. So an NES nowadays would cost the equivalent of $433.69. It was $199 at the time.
Yeah.
SNES was $199 at launch, and
I thought that thing was $300 when that came out.
It says right here, release year 91,
Oh.
$199.
Okay.
Inflation rate would be 71% to nowadays, which would be $343. And then I have some older ones. Atari 2600 was $199 at launch. That currently would be $771.83.
Holy fuck. Do you have the inflation rate for that Turbo Grafx? Do you know...
I'm getting to those here in a minute. I'm trying to find the Genesis.
That $400 price tag is steep.
I'm telling you, yeah, they were not cheap. Even the games, a lot of people bitch about the games. And I remember you, when you got Super Street Fighter, well, we'll talk about Final Fantasy VI's price in a minute. And I'm not trying to get on a tangent. We're still talking about pricing and inflation at the moment. So we'll come back around to stories. When you got Super Street Fighter for one of your birthdays or whatever, I remember it being either $75 or $80.
Makes sense. The other day I was on eBay and I was looking at old like the RPGs that are like super rare now, and I found a factory sealed Chrono Trigger.
That's awesome.
That somebody had actually sent off to the VG
certification
to get certified.
Like my comics that they do, they have the
certified. The guy wanted $1,500 for it.
You're never getting this thing out again. That thing is encased. It's Han Soloed in
it is. It's
polymer plastics.
But it had a price tag still on it. And it was a price tag from Circuit City. It was either Circuit City or KB Toys. I couldn't tell because they looked very much the same. $84.99.
Wow.
For a Chrono Trigger.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
You had all your RPGs complete in box for a while where you were collecting.
Not all of them.
You had like Final Fantasy 2.
I had Final Fantasy 2 and Chrono Trigger.
3.
No, I never had 3.
Okay.
Never had 3.
Well, I mean, you owned it originally at a point. You had it, but then
I had it, and then I turned around and sold it. And I could
it was
myself.
rare back then, and you got a ton of money for it.
It's worth even more now.
Oh god, yeah. You got when you traded that in, you got like $50 or $60 from Funkoland, and that was like big because Funkoland back then was not very
rip-off artists.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So,
before we launch into what's it called, because we're going to be talking about Sega, and I was telling you about Console Wars before. I've told you guys about Console Wars in 2 different episodes.
I just ordered that book on Amazon just before we started recording.
And I can't wait for him to read it because it's really good. But I wanted to bring up Sega of America were very key in the Genesis, the Genesis success. Because what was the thing I was reading in here, and the numbers might be a little off. Sega was a $70 million company. Right at the launch of the Sega Genesis, and then Sega of America helped propel them to like they were $1.4 billion a couple of years after the Genesis release. So like that made them grow big time.
Well, they had a head start on Super Nintendo too.
Yeah, and part of the reason what was cool is Tom Kalinske, because the Super Nintendo came out in Japan obviously before it came out here. So his team ordered, because Nintendo was like trying to lock down stuff pretty good. So they had people buy a couple Super Nintendos and ship them overseas, so Sega of America team could sit there and play the games and kind of go through and dissect stuff and kind of see what they're up against.
Interesting.
Because obviously the Super Nintendo wasn't even out here yet for another like year and a half.
So check that book out. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
One of these episodes, I'll talk about it
cool.
after I read it.
Yeah, I'm going to drop some more stuff from that probably throughout this episode because there's some really cool, interesting, and unique things. But
let's get into our experience with
the cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop. Mm-hmm. Cream of the crop. Rise to the top.
I thought you said cream of the cock.
That's
what helps make babies.
And it does. Lessons. So Super Nintendo. I don't know I cannot remember what year we got it.
It had been out for a little bit because you were talking about Zelda. That's what you figured out.
Yeah, I can tell you that the Super Nintendo came out here August 23rd of 1991. Yeah. When we got it, it was Christmas. I distinctly remember that. It had to have been Christmas of 92, maybe. Let me take a look here. It was probably Christmas of 92.
Yeah. Almost
positive it was Christmas of 92.
That makes sense.
My parents, they did, smartasses, was they wrapped... we're unwrapping our gifts, right? Sorry, I keep saying no.
It was mainly you. I don't think that was not a joint gift, was it?
I don't think it was. I think it was mostly...
I can't remember.
I don't remember you unwrapping any of this stuff.
No.
But I go to unwrap this.
I was young.
I go to unwrap a package.
If you're a younger child.
Yeah, exactly. You got the shift.
Yeah.
I go to unwrap the package, and it was an RF adapter. And back in the day, there was no HDMI cables. There was no RCA, S-video. It was RF.
Yeah, you plug your coax in.
Yeah. Cable goes into this box, and then this little box
flat
plugs in.
Screwdriver.
Yeah, pain in the ass to do. So I got an RF adapter, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, why? I'm a kid. I want toys and stuff, not RF adapter.
Shit.
Yeah, get this shit out of here.
Brain wasn't working all
I already got one for my Nintendo. What the fuck do I need this for? Great, I got a spare. And I unwrap some more stuff, and then I get a power block. Now, I'm pretty sure the power block said...
was meaty, man.
Oh, yeah, they were,
It said Super Nintendo.
It probably said Super Nintendo, but I didn't even think to look at it.
I almost recall a memory. It was either that or a controller. One of these points, you sat there and you started getting pissed off because you saw Super Nintendo and you were like, I don't even need this. You guys bought the wrong one. I don't even have a Super Nintendo.
Yes. Yeah.
Was that the controller? Or
it was the controller because I opened the power adapter. I'm like, whatever, toss that aside. Open another one. It was the controllers. Controllers, because systems back then, 2 controllers and a game. So I open up, I get controllers, and I remember getting a little angry and pissed with my parents. I'm like, why? I'm like, these are the wrong controllers. I need Nintendo controllers, not Super Nintendo controllers. This is the wrong system. Toss them outside. Still not figuring out what's going on yet.
Yeah, no, there was no Nintendo 64. Yeah, Nintendo 64.
No, I was getting pissed.
What's it called?
And then I finally unwrapped the actual base of the Super Nintendo. And this is the second, or the first revision of the Super Nintendo.
I was going for something fancy, and I ended up getting a paper cut.
Oh.
I was going to take out one of the system boxes behind us, and I was going to do the Nintendo 64.
It wasn't the second version model. It was the old school original classic. And
even the new ones are still yellowing.
Yeah, and was ecstatic. It came with Super Mario World, and then just like how my grandmother bought The Legend of Zelda for Nintendo for us, my grandma bought Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for us for Christmas. Which leads me to believe because The Legend of Zelda came out April 13th of 1992. So I'm pretty sure it was a year later and we'd gotten the Super Nintendo in 92. Christmas in 92.
Yeah, with Zelda and all that.
With Zelda. Yeah, we got it with Zelda. So I remember playing Super Mario Brother.
Windows up?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I remember playing... It's raining.
It's raining outside.
October weather. I remember playing...
It's raining. It's pouring. Don't sue us if it's not public domain.
Anyways, I remember we played a lot of Super Mario World, and that game. The funny story is
the whole intro of that was just awesome.
Well, even before we had gotten to Super Nintendo, like I think our first exposure to Super Nintendo was there used to be a store that was right by our apartments where we lived called Venture.
Yes,
and
damn those kids.
We'd go there. And they had the Super Nintendo console hooked up to like a little TV in there so you could play it. And we used to go there and play Super Mario World.
That was awesome.
So like that was our first real exposure to Super Nintendo. And then you fast forward a little bit and we actually get one.
I remember directly because I don't think that store ever remodeled once while we were there. You'd walk in the entrance and electronics would be all the way on the far right corner.
Yep, it was all the way on the right corner.
Because I'm going to tell you another...
Because toys and stuff... We're straight ahead and a little offset to the right.
Yeah.
X-Men figures.
Yeah, you had to pass through all the... I might be thinking of Toys R Us, but you had to pass through all those aisles of bikes before you got to the good fucking toys.
Yeah, I think that was
Toys R Us. Was like that. But no, I want to just tell a quick story that's not even related to this because that's what we do here at the MIGCAST. I remember going to the electronics department as well. And after one of our friends, Nick, was going on about all these awesome movies or whatever, I remember seeing there was Double Impact sitting in the DVD box thing or whatever, the shelves, right? Adventure. And I remember seeing the cover of that, and I was so confused because back then, when Jean-Claude Van Damme was in that movie, I thought there were two guys. And I just thought they both looked similar. And I thought Jean-Claude was one of them, and then Van Damme was the other. Didn't put in my brain how that movie worked. I was a little one. But that's a memory I put into Venture. I know it's weird.
But yes, continue. But I remember Super Mario World being just amazing. Like that game really set things up because the graphics were way more amazing. The sound was amazing. And that game was long. Like you had the whole Star World. And once you completed the Star World, you had the the revamped like regular world. Like,
and then like you were saying before, then you would have everything like was messed up or a little reversed. You had hard enemies in the beginning of the game and whatnot.
Yeah, the Mario faces on the
creepy worm guys.
The worm guys with Mario faces. Yep.
What I think was really amazing with Mario, and I was trying to think about this because I know the cartoon setup. Did we ever find out in the game, and maybe they did, and I was too young to remember, why was it like prehistoric? Did they explain in the story why Mario all of a sudden was like in like because they're dinosaurs?
Because I believe it's technically Yoshi's world that you're at.
Yeah, I know. Like, but how did Mario get into that? I know in the cartoon didn't he get sucked in? Or maybe a pipe or something?
I think he got sucked into.
Do you remember Uktar?
Uktar.
Yeah, and you remember when Bowser
Uktar spelled backwards is rat goo.
Rat goo. Uktar, little shit.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
So that kicked it off. I remember playing a lot of the Super Mario World.
Yeah, I remember the features it had. That was the first game where when you went on top of blocks, because I'm pretty sure 3 didn't have it. You could do that little spin thing. You could spin through the blocks, like torpedo through them.
Yeah, I don't think you could spin through blocks.
No, you could. Like you could stand on like some blocks.
Yeah,
and when you hit the Y or the X, you do like a little.
Yeah, you did a spin. Yeah, that's right.
And one of the cool things too is when you first find Yoshi, and he's in that 1-1, whatever that first stage. Actually, I'm wrong. If you go to the right, you get him at that first set of boxes. Yeah. If you go to the left towards the first P block, when you go up that mountain to the first P block, you don't get a Yoshi. I don't think if you go that. I'm trying to think of you go through a level or two.
You had to feed him too.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh, God, yeah.
The new games, you don't have to feed them.
Well,
yeah, back in our day, when you got Yoshi, he was a baby Yoshi, and you had to make him eat like 5 enemies for him to grow into a full-size Yoshi.
You didn't do that in that game.
Yeah, he did.
No, I don't believe so.
I'm pretty sure he did.
just feed him lovely treats throughout the game.
No, I think you had to feed him to make him
I've been
grow.
playing through it, and I got all the way up until I got past the Vanilla Dome. I'm heading into World 4/5. And I'm pretty sure he just eats, and I don't know if it gets you points. I don't believe he grows. Maybe he gets stronger. He
starts as a baby, and you got to make him eat like 5 things.
I remember like little baby Yoshis. The main Yoshi doesn't grow or change. They had the different ones with the wings. They had like
have to go back and fucking.
I've been playing it, man.
Maybe you're right.
I do my homework. I'm not referencing that shit again. But no, I remember being able to get Yoshi, and you had like some of the tricks, like in that first stage again, you have that pipe area that you go down into, and it's like the whatever the weird cave music is. And you had the floating blocks, and one of the cool tricks that you could do with the Yoshi is you could be on him, jump with Yoshi, and then you could jump and
launch yourself off
and spin. And that's that. You had the Vines of the Crawl was in. They had some of those in 3, right?
Yeah.
I know in 2 they had the vines and shit you could crawl, but I remember in that you could do a lot of the climbing. They had the keys that you could grab, the fucking keys walking around.
That's how you get to the... Nice. So there was that game. We spent a lot of time with that game, and then there was Zelda: Link to the Past.
God,
that game was wow. Like
it really, like I know, like Adventure Link. I thought we talked a little bit about that on the last on the episode that'll be going up. Actually, you guys are going to see this.
Yeah, you'll have already seen that.
Yeah, you'll have already seen part 2 of the 8-bit. But we kind of talked about Adventure Link kind of got a bad rap because like it's a good game. It's just people expected more of Zelda. But Zelda 3 was great because it went kind of back to the basics. It added so many amazing things on top of Link. Yeah, it's getting professional.
Well, I
here.
forgot that it's,
I have a tie.
It's our special. And
the irony here is this is one of those cheap fucking ties, a gimmick tie.
Zip up, dude.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You put your ties on the zip up, tie straight. So come on, sue me. That's the way we do it. Gonna sue me, and I'm gonna say.
So yeah, like I remember playing Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Well, let's talk about the changes. I mean, tell them about some of the different unique things you had in there, right? You had a lot of cool.
Shit.
First thing you get's the lamp.
Yeah.
You had technically in
lamp.
2 you had magic.
Yeah, 2 you had magic, but I mean it was just that magic.
It's at the bar. You could get that in potion. You get the little
but
green.
in this, they added a ton. This is the first game that the hook shot. And side note, hook shot was like once I got that was like my always default weapon. I always kept on.
And what's one of the big key things that's been in every Zelda game since? The hook shot.
The hook shot.
Hook shot's in every game. I know, like some people
bottles. The bottles. That was the game that
yeah.
introduced the bottles. You could put fairy in there, so when you died, fairy would resurrect you.
Link to the Past had more secrets because one of the things that they were able to do is rather than get the full heart containers, you got the quarter pieces. So they stuck those things everywhere.
Yep.
Even get ahead of this, you had with Link, you had different ways to attack. You could slash in different degrees. It wasn't just a stab forward or whatever. You had no charge.
There was a slash, a charge, or you could hold your sword out. And
you could do the dash.
Ding, ding. Yeah, remember dash. Well, and not just that, but think about like you could upgrade things too. Remember, you go to the fairy pond, you could upgrade how many bombs you could carry.
Was that the one with the fat fairy?
Yeah,
she was the one that upgraded your bombs. Yeah. No, I mean, we're not.
The fat fairy. I think that's how you. Is that how you got like the different, like the blue ring and the red ring?
Yeah, shoot up your bombs. You could do a couple different things.
I think you upgraded your sword through her too.
That wasn't before they added like the porn sounding actors fairies. That was an Ocarina of Time when you go in the dark. Yeah, whatever. And they do the spin around. They're all flying around like check it out. Mm-hmm. I'll put a clip of that in there.
So Legend of Zelda was, man.
There's tons here. We're not moving on because we got a lot here. How are we doing on? We're good.
Oh yeah, we're doing great.
But no, Legend of Zelda, you friggin' had, and I feel like deja vu here because in the episode that we kiboshed or whatever, we hit a lot of these points. But you had those 3 initial. There were the medallions, right?
Yep.
That was the
medallions. The three medallions.
And you had. I'm trying to remember the official names of the palace, but you had wasn't one. I might be getting the games mixed up. Didn't you have like power, courage, and something? Was that what they called? Yeah,
well,
it might have been those 3. Those are the Triforces.
Yeah.
I apologize, Zelda fans. I have Hyrule Historia. I have not read it. That wasn't it.
I don't think the pendants had a name. They were just 3 pendants.
It was like blue, reddish, and whatever.
Yeah.
You had that one like it was kind of like in a Dooney area.
It was green, blue, and red.
Go through. Yeah. You had the desert area, and then you had mountain. When you do that, we get the fucking warning call because wasn't Zelda at the sanctuary the entire time until you beat that and then she gets captured and taken to the castle? Pretty sure. You get that call and is it Charlotte or whatever? He's all like dead and bleeding out on the church stairs.
Yes, that's right.
That was graphic for the time. That hurt.
Yep. You have to go. God. You have to go and fight Aghanim.
He probably has a better pronunciation. That's how I know his name.
And to fight Aghanim, you have to put the little image of Aghanim on there and point out how everybody used to see
how
him.
we saw him versus how
he was really looked. Yeah.
Yeah. I will give you guys pointers and maybe I'll link to the video NeoGaf has. Now I don't post on NeoGaf, but I love to lurk on a lot of these forums because I don't like getting into like wars with people over opinions and stuff. But they have a mind blowing facts about video games, and there's a lot of cool like games that should have never happened. Things like about how a game worked, and that was one of them. Is that a misconception with how Aghanim looked? That his head was actually lower in his, what we thought back then was his head was just actually elaborate.
Yeah, it was just a turban basically.
Like an Indian / like Middle Eastern inspired thing. But yeah, no, so you beat him and you remember that boss, he fucking charges. You
gotta use your sword. You gotta use your sword to hit him back.
Yeah. You do it a few times and of course like any boss, you probably do it 3 times or 5. Do you remember the boss? The funny thing is Aghanim was easy. The boss. What was the boss of that first dungeon? Do you remember that?
Was it the? It wasn't the Dongo.
Was that the knights that charged down the fucking platform thing? Because see, there's the 7 palaces later on. I just remember the worm from the mountain palace, the 3rd one that you had to fight on that ledge. You always fell.
You get knocked off. If you're smooth, you can knock him off.
Yeah, or you could utilize bombs and just.
I have to go back and play him again.
You really need to.
It's been a minute since I played that. That's such a good fucking game.
I played it about a year ago, and it's so good. And I love because I mean, you had the hammer in the first part of Zelda, like in the first 3 areas. Yep. And I remember the Mountain Palace starting, and that's when you had, all right, here's the little red, gophery, whatever those weird things were, and you had to smash them, and you had blue. Yes. You had the switches.
Yep, switches.
They look like little crystal balls that are wearing robes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how they look to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
That'll have to be something else I look up, because I thought that's what they were back then. I was like, why are these fucking orbs like, in
flying
robes?
around and shit?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up real quick while we talk.
Pull it up.
But no, you beat Aghanim.
So yeah, you beat Aghanim, and then it's like, oh, surprise! There's the Dark World, and now there's like 7 palaces you need to go to get. What did you have to get at the palaces? Was it the pieces of the Triforce?
It was crystals. Well, or the maidens. Did you have to release the maidens?
You had to release the maidens.
It was the 7 maidens or whatnot.
Yep.
Let me look up here.
Man, oh god damn it!
Well, and think about all the new current Zelda games. They all have this deception, or no, I shouldn't say deception. They have a breakup, right? Because in Ocarina of Time, I'm being a little loud here. You had the first 3 palaces, right? Mm-hmm. You have the Deku tree.
Yeah.
Does that kind of technically count?
I think so.
You do Deku tree. I know Zora's in there, and then the fire guys. What the fuck are their names? Isn't it something with a G? I'm not thinking of Gerudo. They're the guys who are the big stone guys.
I know who you're talking about.
Sorry, guys. And I just beat this on the 3DS not too long ago, so I feel like a prick. But you had those 3, and then, you could become Adult Link. It's fucking amazing. And then, now you got all these other dungeons to clear.
You need to go clear.
And that kind of became the thing that I think kind of started with Link to the Past. Yeah. Where they did that deceiving.
Oh, absolutely.
Something happens in the middle.
Absolutely.
And there's more to it. I'm looking up these switches here. But no, the Dark World.
Yeah, well, because it added there was a whole new 7 palaces. Like, you thought that you were just about done with this game. And then, it flips it on its head, and it's like, no, you're, like, only halfway through this game. Like, you still gotta go do all these dungeons. There's still a ton more stuff to find.
You remember the one you have to drain the water, and you have to keep pulling out the levers? You had that one where you gotta bomb the thing and get the light to come down for the monster to spawn. You remember that one?
I think those Zelda games, man, like, those Zelda... that Zelda game was, like, the pinnacle of, like, puzzle solving in games. Like, it was like the puzzles were so good in those games, and like, how many countless bombs did you waste on like walls and cliff ledges to like try to find them? Yeah, hidden location? Like, it was just amazing.
Well, didn't some of them had like that weird like little peace sign? I'm gonna put it in the bottom. It had let me draw it to Josh. It was
like a crack.
No, you remember? No, it had like these weird like little V thing or whatever.
Yeah, it might have.
And they had like little circles, and like if the wall was like that. Some, of course, then there were the fake ones.
Yeah, and then you got to keep in mind this is still really before the internet.
It really was. So another having to find stuff.
Yeah, either you got a strategy guide or
there was internet for some people. I was reading Felicia Day's book, and she was like her whole family was nerded out, and so she had like early ass internet. So like Felicia Day had internet, but like us, like we had AOL discs, and that was still 2 years much later on. 2 or 3 years later, 95, 96. No, I think you're a little
maybe.
So if we got Zelda in 93...
No, we had Zelda in 92.
Okay, the internet was only 2-3 years away for us.
Now, the part that always gets foggy for me is, and I can't really remember what the next... Like, I have a bunch of memories for what came, like, after...
I still want to talk about Zelda.
Oh shit, I thought you were done with Zelda.
No, because there's still a lot of cool... there's a lot of cool stuff that I was reading about Zelda and how because of... Legend of Zelda was the first Super Nintendo game that actually was 1 megabyte.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it said 8 bits, and then, what's it called there? It said 1 megabyte because of the size or whatever. And the Dark World, because that would have been so tough for them to stick another full render of a world in there.
Is why it looks like our world.
The ROM literally was just the light world being reloaded, recolored. But with palette swaps and stuff. They didn't actually render a whole new separate world or whatever. They had to they did trickery. But no, I wanted to talk about some of the secrets in being able to use the mirror and transport. Because you remember you're the bunny. You remember the bunny for a while?
That's when you first get there, isn't it?
Yeah. And so you would have, like you'd go to where the desert palace was in the light world. And you had to go out on that ledge. And then you had to freaking because you had the medallions.
Yeah,
that would give you the superpowers. And so then you'd have to warp there. You hold your sword out or whatever, and then some fucking thing gives you the thunder or the lightning. There were the different special attacks.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and I think there were a couple of these medallion like superpower things. There's 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's right.
This one I wanted to
I totally forgot.
Yeah, I didn't want to speed ahead because this was cool, groundbreaking stuff. You had your normal inventories. They didn't have the raft. You had the flippers that you got from Zora. You went up to the fountain. Then you were friendly with the Zorans. You had, of course, the hidden bottles swimming underneath that dock and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Catching fairies and saving them for later, which is kind of like what they have with potions, right?
Yeah, well, that was the way to go, because that's what I always did. You know, you had the potions and health and stuff, but the thing that was nice about the fairies, you keep them in the bottle, and when you died, if you had a fairy in a bottle, she'd come out, and you come up and tick, 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 and you keep going. Like, that was the way to go.
Yeah. But you had the fire rod, you had the ice rod, you had all of these extra...
Always talking about this shit just makes me want to go back and fucking play.
I'm telling you, I'm really big about, and I'd love to do Let's Play sometime with the way computers are and being able to record stuff easily rather than having to plug in. I mean, you can't get a CRTV and put the VHS in.
Yeah.
You need to use emulators. Nintendo, I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the way to do it.
This shit's so old.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, so anyways, and we own Link to the Past.
Yeah,
so Nintendo, I'm going to get an emulator and a ROM, and I'm going to play this, and you're going to like it. I'm going to play the games. And my body's ready, Reggie.
Yes, my body was
Say
ready.
that 10 times. Yeah, my body's ready, Reggie.
My body's ready. My body's ready. I
But
already fucked it up.
So Zelda had tons of really cool stuff that we weren't even thinking of, like stand in the middle of here, hammer through a block, stand in the middle of this thing, blow the fucking the mirror.
Teleports and shit.
Well, and you remember, the trickiness of I'm stuck on Death Mountain. What I do? Go here, walk through the open portal.
A fucking hot mess of a maze.
Yeah, you could only go so many ways around. And that game was stressful though, trying to find all the quarter heart pieces because there's a lot of that bouncing between worlds. Stand on a ledge, use your fucking.
Oh yeah, you had to stand here. Yeah, use the mirror to get into this spot that you couldn't get to otherwise. Like, yeah, it was.
And the music
genius.
was a huge up. I mean, Zelda had classic music, but you pretty much had the do 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 do. You had the overworld, and you had the do 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 or whatever the dungeon music, and then you had the do 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 do. You had Ganon and NES. There wasn't a whole lot of music.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Super.
No, I'm gonna get to Link to the Past. Had so much more going on. Like you'd walk in the caves, you get a ding 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 do 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 do. They had like Death Mountain, like you had so much different music. You had the dee 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 dee. Did you know? I'll tell this story after you because I'm talking like crazy. We'll have to...
Remember, you go to the forest in the Dark World, and the music was that do 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 do. Yes,
we had lyrics. We had lyrics to this song.
I'm glad you knew where I was going with that.
He'll sing it. I mean, I kind of know.
We made up lyrics. I can't remember if all of them. I just distinctly remember we get in that area.
I think it was your, not where. It was your.
No, it was your.
For Christmas.
Getting nothing for Christmas. Because I something. Yeah. But that's every time we heard that now, all I think of when I play that game, I get to that part is
what I hear.
I'm getting nothing for Christmas.
You started that pyramid.
It was so bad.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the memories I have. You finally get the super bomb. You get all the pieces. You blow through the top of that pyramid.
Was there even a super bomb?
You drop bomb. Yeah, there was a big bomb because you remember you have to blow through that top of that pyramid to drop down and fight Ganon, right?
Oh,
it's the top.
Yeah,
or do you get one of the medallions that summons it? But you have to have all the girls released, and there was a crystal. Maybe it was a crystal rather than just the maidens. Get all 7 of those. You stand on, I think, on the top of it. You blow a hole in. You fall down. And then you have to use a dust or something to get Ganon to appear. And that was so friggin' awesome and epic, that battle. And is that the one I believe that the tiles slowly fall apart?
I think you'd probably
have to shoot them across.
It's been such a minute.
Yeah, I just beat it like a year ago. And I'm a little hazy because I went through.
I beat it a year ago, but that was the 3DS remake, and they changed a lot in there, which was a really good
yeah, Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, it was really good.
Well, we're going to hit some of that too, but that was then they had the weapon rental, which was it Lavio or whatever the guy's name was. I'm not a fan of that system, so ain't happening. But I think we're going to take a quick break, guys, and then we're going to come back, but part 3 will continue. We're not going to go to part 4.
This whole thing is probably going to end up like just 16-bit era alone.
Oh, 3 hours.
You're probably looking at about three parts, maybe even 4 parts, because we're only like 35 minutes into this right now, and we haven't even begun to scratch. We've gone over 2 games.
We've talked about the 2 games that started to define the era for us. And like I said, we're coming of age. We were in the single digits. Now I'm trying to think here, because 90, whatever.
You were 11. If we got it in 92, I would have been 11.
Yeah, you were 11, I was 9. We're getting older. We're more experienced with games. We've played the tough Ninja Gaiden, Castlevanias, Mega Mans. We've been there.
Oh, and that's just the thing, because
We're ready
in my
for the
honest
stakes to be
opinion,
raised.
games have gotten easier as the time has gone on. Because you're looking at it too like fuzzy. Oh, you got a fuzzy.
You won't see that on camera.
They got what's it called? I think still to this day, Nintendo has some of the absolute hardest games ever made. Super Nintendo was also had hard games, but not as hard as Nintendo. And I personally noticed as the generation's gone by, games have gotten easier and easier.
That was back in the day when an enemy hit you, you got flown back 5 feet.
Yeah,
if you tried to turn around to prep yourself to get hit from one side so you can get the other way, no, that wouldn't work that way.
Yep.
This is the type of generation that we came from in the 8-bit era, where when you got right near the edge of a platform and you jumped, if your foot just barely hit the water, you're dead. You drown.
And think about it, like Super Nintendo games, like at that point, you were saving everything on the cart. There wasn't really like passwords, and that was like because
he'll tell you an awesome story about renting a game with something so he could tell it apart. We'll maybe hit that when we come back.
You might have to refresh my memories a little bit.
Yeah, but guys, we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back and we'll continue.
Raised on Games.
Yeah, Raised
16-bit
on Games.
era.
And I guess it'll be part 4 then.
Yeah, it will. This is going to probably be a 3-parter, and the next 2 are going to go longer.
And what we'll probably do, because this is so short, is maybe in 1 week, like drop like episode 5.
I'm going to drop 2
later in the week.
Yes, yeah. What you guys are going to get, depending on how long we go with episode,
if you subscribe
5,
to Patreon,
no, we're not doing
soon. Someday,
yeah, guys, down the road, man, because we know we're still learning this. Like, we're a little crazy. We don't have a fan base yet. For the few of you guys that watch this, thank you for sticking around and being here for us. It's only going to get better. We will rise. I'm not doing the Seinfeld and they're fucking Mr. Lippman, Mr. Pitt.
The stocks are rising.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So
people
make
outside that are watching the MIGCAST through we have a display
Nazis.
window.
Nazis.
We have a couple of people that gather by the windows and watch us live.
Because they think we're famous YouTubers. But
we're not. We're just from a small town.
Yeah.
All right, but guys.
So yes,
we'll be
make
back.
sure you check out part 4. We'll dive way deeper into this. We're just starting to get into this.
Yeah. So we'll be back.